Now we go to the final session. Basically, it is the critical assessment analysis at various stages of residency. So I'll request Professor Gaurav Kapoor to have this talk.
एडाप्टर है तुम्हारे पास? इसमें लगा लें, इसमें है एडाप्टर इनका। देख आया? अरे यहाँ देख स्क्रीन पे आ गया। Morning. Coming to the last presentation of this GP, I'll be covering video recording of cases and the critical analysis and assessments at various stages, which have been covered by the various speakers. So just a brief overview of that and a final conclusion.
There are two more sessions. I'm already sitting in session.
So why video recording of cases? We have covered simulators, we have covered training, we have covered the on-job training. So it is an important part of higher education. It provides an important content delivery platform where you can deliver content at a later stage. Video in education is, I would say, affordable now because most of the microscopes now come integrated and you get off-the-shelf recorders which are actually cheap on Amazon and various websites. Video content is accessible and reproducible. This is the most important part. It is accessible both to the teacher and to the student for assessing the video himself at a later stage. So this is the most important part. And it promotes engagement. The earlier speakers spoke of engagement with your juniors, spoke of engagement with your seniors. So this covers, it is an important part of that also. So for resident cases, video recording is crucial in the learning process because it is a two-way tool. So you have an interaction with your teacher who can then guide you on the steps where you have gone wrong. For the trainee to assess himself about the steps, his technique, and where he is lacking in hand-eye coordination, which obviously he picks up on the simulator also, as the previous speaker explained. For the teacher to watch on-site if you have a real-time assessment, and for assessment later. To evaluate the gradual process improvement. So again, it is a stepwise process. You take steps, you do video recording at various steps, you do recording at various stages of residency. So do it in the third year when he graduates to FACO. You can have a program in place where you can do the recording of each resident, say 2 cases per month, and compare the cases over the next 6 months and guide the student as to where he has improved, where he has remained stagnant, or where he needs improvement. So these are the advantages of a video assessment. And again, like I said, periodically self-assess his or her performance. Now the advantage is, it is active learning, student-resident engagement, it has a cognitive effect, and improves the motivation because the student knows that I have somebody here who's looking after me. Now, if you saw the video on the previous slide, it was the same resident who had a issue in cracking the nucleus. He was not able to split the nucleus. Now this is the same resident 3 months down the line where you can see he is effectively performing a FACO. This is 3 months down the line. On a similar case, in a similar situation, he's drastically improved. I would say 30 to 40% improved. So this improves the motivation also. The resident himself is seeing, I am so much better than what I was 3 months back. Now this is again a case where the student is operating. Now if I pause here, immediately what do you notice? The shadow at the end of the trench. So this case is going to end up in trouble. So you can guide the student real time and when you assess later. So this patient eventually had a PCR and it had to be taken over by the faculty who was guiding and completed the case. So these are situations where if you are watching the patient live, you're watching the surgery live, You can guide the student real time, or if you have a recording, and you can guide the student and tell him where the problem was. Now at this step you can notice the bright glow at the end of the trench. So this is where the rent probably took place, because the trenching was too deep at the end. Now coming to critical analysis and assessment at various stages has been covered by all the speakers. So education is basically a repetitive and ongoing criterion referenced assessment. And in the case of medicine or a post graduation, it includes direct observation. That is where the advantage is not classroom based learning, it is observation based learning and on the job learning. So the ideal assessment tools for us should be practical, which successfully appraise the resident performance without placing any additional burden on him. And there should be no burden on the administration also and the evaluators. So you're doing a on-the-job training while you're working with the patient and while you're operating. So there is no separate assessment which is required. And it requires goal-oriented tasks and specific observation, which the previous speakers, Colonel Sandeep also covered in his introduction, where you have a set protocol and a set schedule for the first year, for the second year, and for third year. So it is part of that assessment. Now the assessment tool should be reliable, valid, reproducible, and practical. So the ideal 6 pilot tools for competency assessments include written and oral exams, 360-degree evaluations, which include feedback from your peers and your seniors, faculty. Patients' feedback is also important, and non-physician members, which include your paramedical staff or the support staff. Direct observations within operative and clinical studies, which has been covered, and journal clubs also forms an important part, which is not part of this presentation, but it is part of all the assessment tools that we follow. Now, there is a global rating assessment of skills in intraocular surgery, GRACIS, which was produced as a complementary subjective assessment along with OSIS. Now, these are standards which have been developed over the years, and these are available on the public domain. Presently, the Ophthalmic Surgical Competency Assessment Rubric, OSCAR, is a series of standardized, internationally accepted skill-based tools which have been developed. ICE Surgical Skill Assessment Test is another skill testing program by ICO. Now, along with this, we need to assess the other competencies. Like I said, the medical knowledge is assessed with written and oral exams. Patient care is assessed with patient surveys. We have patient surveys in all our hospitals where we take a feedback. This can be gradually used to incorporate a feedback on the residents and the first year, second year, and third year residents who are directly dealing with the patient at various steps, either in the OPDs or in the surgical OTs. And objective structured clinical examination, or better known as OSCEs, where standardized patients are used in various scenarios, which we have now started doing in our final exams also. OSCEs, they used to be a big part of DNB, NB exams till the early 2000s, and it was stopped for some years. Now from the COVID era, we have again gone back to OSCEs, which is an important part of assessment. So to conclude and summarize what all the speakers have said, the basic idea is to standardize training methodology, implement the curricula as it is prevalent worldwide. And the most important part, since we are a skill-based subject, to include skill assessment as part of the overall teaching program, so that we can actually judge our students and rate them as to their skilling and the gradual upskilling which takes place over the next 3 years. So the whole idea which I come to, which is a corporate term, is gradual upskilling. That is the term which is the in thing these days. So it starts with assisting a part of wet lab and skills lab, which our presenters said, simulators, introduction to real cases, of which recording is a very important part, and real-time assessment, which takes place at various stages of residency. So you decide an assessment program which is interposed with these various steps of upskilling. So you have assessment at various steps, and to judge each step and decide if the student is fit enough to move to the next step of his training or not. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a lovely presentation. A simple thing we used to do in FMC, once in a week, one day was meant for all the students' videos. So all cases of residents which have been done by residents, they were just reviewed in that class only, and that just cases were just flashed. And all the videos were flashed, and everybody learns out of that, and so it's a good thing. reviewing our own cases as well as residents' cases on video recording is a wonderful thing, which you learn a lot by them.
Well, if I can add on, one thing which I didn't cover is video recording. Actually, often there is a lot of ego involved. Even the teacher can record his own cases and display to the students. I have numerous cases where I have made mistakes. I review them periodically, even 10 years back. If you can show these cases to your student, there's no harm in it because he learns from your videos also.
So we come to the end of our IC, not the show. And any questions are most welcome. So if no questions, I thank all my speakers of this IC, and I think we'll conclude this session well in time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Move to the next hall.
Okay.